What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. Let me say it one more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Speaking of people that need to be entertained, here comes an entertainer. Theresa Carmoney is on the show today. Who's Theresa Carmoney? Well, you're going to find out in the next few minutes, so stick around. This week's shows, well, my one public show as we're breaking out of this COVID-19 coronavirus thing that's going on, is on Friday nights at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. It's the video dance party karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. All I'm doing is pressing buttons. Maybe I'm playing a little background music here and there. They have a full bar, kitchen's open, pool tables. There's a pool tournament on Friday nights from 8 p.m. until 1 in the a.m. Come on out and play with us. Now we are taking care of each other and keeping vigilant as we're breaking out of COVID-19 quarantine. And make sure that you wear a mask on the way in the door. And then while you're walking around and interacting with people, make sure you keep that mask up. But when you're sitting down, having your drinky drinks and having some good food, you could take the mask down. How about that? Taking care of each other, keeping vigilant. And we'll get through this. We'll get through this coronavirus thing. All right. Come see me at the Rab Friday night, 8 p.m. Do it. Conway, Arkansas. All right, let's get into it with Theresa Carmoney. Now, I am getting her on the Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/Keys Dan, or just look up Keys Dan on YouTube, and you'll see the Radio What logo right next to my name. Hey, pretty easy. Make it simple. All right, let's get into it with Theresa Carmoney. Skyping Theresa Carmoney now. All right then, Theresa Carmoney. You know what I liked about your Facebook page? I was looking at your Facebook page. It has a pronunciation key. It says Carmoney, like harmony.
Oh, yes.
Now,
I had to do that because people, they'll call me Carmoney or Carmoni, and it's like, no, Carmoney, let it flow.
car money sounds good as long as somebody's giving you money for a car.
It does. That part sounds good, but the pronunciation, I'm kind of particular about that. So it's,
You're giving the people good advice. If somebody messes up your name, you make sure that you correct them because your name is important. Shakespeare said, "What's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet." But no, our names, we're very connected to them. Our moms and dads, they gave us a name for a reason, right? So who gave you the name Theresa?
Yes. Actually, Carmoney is not my maiden name. My maiden name is Odom, but Carmoney is from when I was married, But I don't want it messed up.
No. You have a name, you brand it, you put it out there to the world. Yeah. I mean, if anybody looks up Theresa Carmoney, they're going to find you everywhere. Yeah. You're building a brand. But I think I'm going a little forward. I'm getting ahead of myself. Give the people a little idea of who you are, Theresa Carmoney.
Well, I grew up, the first part of my life, I grew up in South Carolina, Denmark, South Carolina. And my mom joined the military when I was about 11 years old. From there, we went to like Texas and Germany and Colorado. And now I'm back home in South Carolina. But just music, I have music on both sides of my family, my mom's, my dad's. And my grandmother on my dad's side used to want to make it, she wanted to go to New York to sing professionally. And then there's my mother. She sings opera, trained in opera, but she sings a lot of gospel. And then there's me, country, 80s music, But but that's been like all of my life, my whole family, so.
Well, I'm class of 1986, so the 80s. You're speaking my
Yeah.
language. Whenever you come down my social media feed and you start singing, I hear the music from the 80s, and it's all genres. It's not You're not limited to anything, but you put your soulful um, you have a soulful spin that you put on every song. You make it your own. It's fantastic. You feel it when you're singing it. Theresa Carmoney, you feel it, but it's in your blood. You've already alluded to it, that your mom and dad were both into it. Your grandparents were both into it. So you had no choice but become creative. So, well, I mean, since your mom was in the army and she moved you around a little bit, what was her job in the army?
I loved it. I'm not the one that had to be in the military, but I love the traveling. I love meeting the people. It was just, it was nice. Everywhere we went usually felt like home, even though it wasn't home. I don't know, especially Germany. It was really nice.
No, but what job did your mom have?
Sorry, she was a cook in the military. That's the one she chose. So, but I know it was kind of strenuous on her, at times, but she didn't really have to go. Well, they still had to go to field, even though she was a cook. But she enjoyed it and wanted to make a career of it, but she was medically injured, so that stopped it.
Well, I mean, how much of your life did that take? I mean, was that like your youngest part of your life? So, what age were you when she got out of the military?
I was 18 when my mom ended up getting out of the medical, 1990.
So you spent your whole
6 years of my.
You spent like a lot of formative years while you were as a military brat, if you will.
Yes, it was. I loved it every minute.
So, did you learn any German? What part of Germany were you in?
We were in Neu-Ulm, Germany. It's down by Stuttgart, Munich, Augsburg, Wiley Post, and we were in Vorfeld housing area, Vorfeld. But that's an experience, just all of its own. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Besides school, you had a life experience. What flavors did you take from Germany? Because there's a lot of music that comes out of Germany as well. The polka music and all that. Definitely.
Well, where we were with the Dodge, under the the Dodge system or whatever, we would receive music, a lot later than the United States. Most of the United States, like we were listening to Lean on Me way after it came out, and you know what I'm saying. Like it was really slow. I think if I remember correctly, I think it took maybe 6-7 months or something, maybe even longer than that, to hear a new song. Yeah. So it's
funny. This morning, the music of 1983 came up, and I was talking, and somebody said, "Hey, can you tell me what was the number one song in 1983?" And I said, "Well, it was either Michael Jackson or The Police, depending on which chart you were looking at." And he said, "Wow, you're good. You are a good DJ." Because it was Every Breath You Take was number one on this chart, and then Billie Jean was the second one on this chart. Now I'm guessing you were there. Were you there in the 80s? It's tough when I'm doing this. I'm trying to get a timeline, but you never want to ask a woman her age. But
well, you can go ahead you can go ahead. I don't mind.
I'm 51 years old, and until I was 50, I was real hesitant to tell people my age. But then as soon as I turned 50, man, I was like, I'm 50. I'm celebrating it. Yeah, I love it.
Looking. I mean, not that that's a bad thing. The age is not a bad thing, but you don't look 50. You said 54?
51. Wow. 51. Yeah, I'm 51 years old. Class of 86. Okay, so when you were 18, what year was that?
1990.
1990, class of 90 rules. So, so what songs, I guess you wouldn't know which songs you were getting a little bit too late. Which Lean on Me were you talking about? Club Nouveau or?
Yeah.
Oh, Nouveau. The bouncier one.
We had, that was when Samantha Fox was out. I was there from 1985 to 88 in Germany. So, yeah. And then Michael Jackson, of course, Bad was out. I didn't really like that one. I wasn't really fond of that song, but, that's when around that era, I was just kind of like, eh.
Well, it's hard to make lightning strike twice. I mean, talking about Michael Jackson, he comes up with Off the Wall, which has my favorite song, my favorite Michael Jackson song of all time, and then he comes up with Thriller. Oh my goodness. How are you going to top that? How are you going to top that? And all the music that came out of the 80s. That's my jams, man. That's all the stuff that I grew up with.
Oh, yes. So Thriller. Off the Wall, I do some of the songs up there, not too many, but Thriller, yeah, that was mine.
Dance, shout, kick your body down to the ground. Oh, man, for sure.
Shake your body down to the ground. Oh, yeah.
You're sending little chills up my spine, girl. I like that.
Oh my gosh. Whatever.
No, because you're singing right through me. I got headphones on. For those that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you, check out the video version. It's on youtube.com/user/keysdan. Find it. You get to see her beautiful face right there next to me. See, as I'm pointing at your face right next to me.
Oh my God. Thank you. That's sweet.
All right. So growing up in South Carolina, I guess your young life. My half brother's family. His dad is from. Was it Greenville?
Greenville, South. Yeah, that's up north. Yeah.
Well, somewhere in the mountains. I remember I used to go there, and there was like waterfalls and mountains. And the one time I was real small, but I remember there was some waterfalls there. And my mom, she was trying to get out on this little ledge to get a picture of the waterfall off the side of the ledge. It seemed dangerous to me, but hey, I was a little kid. I couldn't say anything to her. But
oh my God!
But what?
I haven't even been up that far north in South Carolina. Well, maybe when I was younger, but I don't recall that. So.
Well, what's life like for a young Theresa Carmoney in South Carolina?
Oh my gosh, we grew up like hillbillies on my dad's side of the family, and then we have my mom's side of the family out in a village outside of Georgetown, South Carolina, and I got to wash clothes, hang clothes by hand, wash clothes in the big tin tubs. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
My great grandmother had a Ford, and they had this washing machine that had the little, it spun or span, like, however you say it, the little rollers on it. That's how I grew up, and just eating, like, going fishing with my grandfather and eating whatever he caught, you had to eat.
Saltwater fishing or freshwater fishing?
Well, I'm talking about hunting. It was freshwater fishing mostly. He would go to rivers, a lot of rivers and stuff. But the hunting, man, we've had like turtle, squirrel, raccoon, you name it. I grew up hearing a lot of music and singing and eating a lot of that nasty stuff that I wouldn't touch these days. Sorry. Bare feet, running out in Granddaddy's field on the farm, and it was I'm writing a book about it actually. It's called Oak Trees and Moss.
Oh. See, that's a good upbringing. I grew up in South Florida, the Florida Keys, in the Everglades. And I remember going out in the Everglades, getting into the mud, getting all, getting dirty, becoming part of the earth, part of the nature. And I think that it helps to build your immune system. The kids today, they don't, man, and I'm going to sound old in 3, 2, 1. The kids today, they don't play outside anymore. They're inside on their video games. We're so afraid to let them go outside and play. My mom, and I'm sure, listening to your upbringing, you would go outside and you would be home, when the street lights came on, if there were any street lights at all. So, do you remember going out with your friends, riding bikes or?
In Germany, not when I was younger. I wasn't allowed to really go that far. My grandfather, I'd want to go to like my friend Tori's house at the time, and that was when I was about 4th to 6th grade. And she could come see me, but I could never go see her by myself. Like no, you're not riding that far. No. But as I grew older, Texas, I started having a little more freedom. I was about 12, almost 13, or around 13 before we left there. And then Germany, I had a tad bit more freedom there, but the friends thing started when I was in Germany, when I hit my teenage years. And it was, we had a blast. Go walking and singing and go visit the German parks. And it was really beautiful, really nice,
Well, let me back up for a second and find out what part of Texas were you in? Do you remember?
Good. Fort Hood.
Fort Hood
for a year.
Fort Killeen. Are they combined? Is that the same place?
Basically, we didn't live on Fort Hood, but we lived outside. It's the city of Killeen, and it's I don't really know how to explain it, but but we didn't live on Fort Hood, but my mom was stationed at Fort Hood.
Yeah, Fort Hood's like a big one. That's one that I definitely have heard about, and I've never been in the armed forces. My brother got into the Navy, and he got stationed. I guess he went to Great Lakes, or as he called it, Great Mistakes, and then he went to Orlando for the rest of his career. Never got on a boat. In the Navy, 6 years, never got on a boat. I don't know how that happened, but I tried to get in the Navy, and I got in a motorcycle wreck, and that ruined my career. Oh, well, medically discharged before I even got in. So how about that?
Yeah.
I never got in. But your mom, she taught you a few things just by traveling around the world and cooking. Oh, my goodness. That's a job you could take outside of the armed forces and use. So what did she do when she got out of the Army? Or was it the Army?
Yeah, the Army. You're right.
What did she do when she got out of the Army?
My mom cooked before she went in the Army. When she was in the Army, after coming out of the military, she loves to cook. Our whole family, both sides, seafood and soul food. That's what we eat. So ate, I should say.
What's the special dish? What do you remember growing up with that was special to your mom?
Perlo rice. I love it. It's rice with salt. It's salt and peppered, and you have chicken in it, or you have like ham hocks or something in it, and it is so stinking fattening, but it's really tasty, really good.
What's the name of it again?
Perlo rice. That's what we called it.
Perlo rice. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get the recipe on that one. Maybe put it in the show notes. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send all my listeners over to your website, over to you, so they can get the recipe from you and find out a little bit more about what that is. Because it sounds delicious.
Thank you. You know what? I'm still in the process of setting up a website, like an official website.
Yeah.
I have the Facebook one, but I'll give them the recipe any day.
So it's not a secret Carmoney recipe. Not secret. You can put that out to the world and maybe put it as an addendum to your book that you're writing.
Yes. Everybody can try it.
That's fantastic. See, that would be a little extra Easter egg. People think that they're reading a book about you or reading a book about you growing up in South Carolina, in the woods as a hillbilly, using your own words. I think hillbilly, it's like a badge of honor to a lot of people.
It is. I love it.
I married a hillbilly. Okay. She grew up in Jasper, Arkansas. And, so.
Wow. I don't really know too much about it, but wow.
Up in the hills. So put that on the walking tour as you're doing the What Makes You Famous walking tour, Jasper, Arkansas. Yeah. And then what part of South Carolina are you in?
Right now? Yeah. I'm outside of West Columbia. I'm in Swansea. It's like a little town, really small town. West Columbia is just, basically, the whole area is basically Columbia. You know what I mean? But they have it divided in sections. There's Swansea, then Gaston. Then they have West Columbia. Then they have, what's the other one? Casey. And then it goes back to West Columbia, which is weird. I've never heard of anything like that. But
Fort Lauderdale was like that. Being the biggest city in Broward County in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale would take all the unincorporated parts of Fort Lauderdale. Like you would have Fort Lauderdale, then Cooper City, then Davie, and then all of a sudden you're in Fort Lauderdale again, going west.
Weird. Yeah, and I was in Fort Lauderdale back in 1990, actually, when I was 18. Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, And we went to a little town called Eustis, Florida. Well, I'm sure you probably heard of it,
Yes,
but
we call it
yeah.
useless Florida.
Oh,
I'm sorry to the people from Eustis, Florida that are listening.
oh,
I'm gonna get it for that. I'm gonna get lots of emails right now. Oh, it's just what we called it. It just sounded right. It rhymed like Carmony and Harmony. It rhymed.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I kid. Just learning
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit about
right.
where you're from and how you came to be who you are. The music was always there. What kind of music were you listening to growing up? I mean,
Yeah.
in Germany, you said that you were getting the stuff late, but were you at
Yeah.
least touched by any of the German music? Were you flavored there?
German music. Well, when we went to the fest, I didn't go to the Oktoberfest. We went to like small fests around Wiley Post, and we'd always hear the German music playing, and there was beer everywhere. I mean, it's probably raining beer out there. Like, I'm just kidding, but it was an experience I'll never forget. I loved it, and the culture, the people, just I missed my German friends. Not only did I have friends from school, but I had friends from the German economy, and it was a blessing. And as far as how I came to be in Denmark, my like I said, my grandmother on my dad's side, she used to want to go sing in New York professionally. I grew up hearing her sing hymns and like gospel hymns, and my grandfather's radio was set. We could not change the station. It played country during the week, and on the weekend we may have gotten to listen to some like gospel quartets. That's it. Every now and then he would change it, but every day it was set to the same country station. And where I'd wake up to hearing Kenny Rogers or Dolly Parton or Alabama, Oak Ridge Boys, Lee Greenwood, the Judds. I was just, and then every now and then we get to hear records of Michael Jackson or Shirley Caesar, and it was really, I don't know, I really miss it. I miss that part of my life, but
Well, I find
and I miss them.
yeah, I find in our younger days that we're at the mercy of our parents. Yes, I listened to a
Mhm.
lot of 60s and 70s. I have a love for Elvis Presley. Because of
Yeah.
my grandma. The Beatles were definitely in there. Gordon Lightfoot, all that stuff from the
Mhm.
70s that my mom would listen to, and Ray
Mhm.
Charles would always be thrown in there,
Oh,
and stuff from the
mhm.
60s, Smokey Robinson for sure. But
Yes.
and then you develop your own taste. You find maybe an older brother, an older cousin, or an older sister, somebody that's got some records, and they'll say, "Hey, check this out," and drop that on the
Mhm.
platter and say, "Let's take a listen to this. Let's broaden your
Yeah.
horizons." Well, I mean,
Yeah.
all right. Before I ask you who broadened your horizons, your grandma was singing gospel music. What was your favorite gospel song?
What? I guess they sang. Let me see. What? That's a really good question. Um. Oh, here we go. You ought to take the Lord with you, children, everywhere you go. You ought to take the Lord with you, children, everywhere you go. And then it was just so beautiful,
Oh my
you know.
goodness! You just kept her alive forever and ever. As you alluded, you say that your grandparents are gone by now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just keep them alive with remembering what song she was singing to you, and that's how you keep people alive forever and ever. In your memories and through your music. That's how you're going to keep them alive. Now, who was that person? All right, your grandpa was making you listen to country music and gospel
Yeah, he
music.
was. That's all I knew. I wouldn't even call it making me. We just couldn't touch the radio and change the station, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. That's who I am. There on that side. That's who I am. Just we lived it and breathed it. Just everything, the farm life, and just I don't know, flea markets and selling fruits and going to pick cucumbers. You name it. We did a lot of that. So.
Well, you alluded that you grew up hanging out in the woods and stuff like that, but you just said farm life. Did they have a farm? Was there a farm in your family?
Well, the farm was on my dad's side, and then out in the woods, out in the country, that part of the country in Georgetown, outside of Georgetown, Annie Village. My grandmother's name was Annie, and on my mom's side, that was the woods. That was kind of in the sticks, but my dad's side was like farm life, and that's where I experienced the hillbilly type, things, the barefoot and the running around and hitting rocks with sticks. That's how I learned how to bat. I learned how to bat and played softball in Germany, in Neuilly, Germany, for the YA, the DYA. But I learned how to hit. I just threw up little rocks, big rocks, it didn't matter, and hit them with sticks to see how far they'd go, get the end of my grandfather's field. And, I just, we had it was a pretty cool life, still is, but, that's it.
So Theresa Carmoney's a jock too, as well as a singer.
Oh, I love sports. Maybe not as much anymore.
Well, I guess we're finding out these days that sports, it really is not the most important thing. There's other things that you got to focus on. You find out, man. You find out in times of trouble what the most important things are. What are the most important things to you, Theresa Carmoney?
Oh, you had to ask. I have so many, but the top, on the top of my list, God and my daughters and the rest of my family, my friends, my fans, and music. So that's it in a nutshell. And I love to learn, but that's my little, not really a bubble, but whatever that is,
Well, let's take you through your school life, little Theresa. You're getting educated all over the world. What kind of studies are you doing? From Texas. I guess you're starting in your formative years at 12 and 13 in Texas.
Yeah.
And then once you get to Germany, 14 through 18, I'm guessing. What are you studying in school?
It was more like in Texas. Like I did really well in Denmark, South Carolina. We hit Texas. Oh my gosh, that was harder. The school system was just way harder. I hadn't heard of algebra or pre-algebra until we moved there. I was like, what's this? Seriously. So I kind of struggled when we were there for that year. Then we hit Germany and started kind of taking off again. I was like, okay, wait, maybe I am smart, that kind of thing. But yeah, Germany was just just everything, the learning, everything. That's when I started learning how to play the flute, and I was in choir out there, and it was just beautiful. I had the most wonderful band teacher, Mr. Peters. He was so, I don't know, he was incredible, and then dance. I was on the junior Novatons, so we did dances at basketball games, football games, and that was a little bit before I ended up, we ended up getting stationed. My mom got stationed at Fort Carson, but yeah, I had so much fun there.
Where's Fort Carson? Which one's that one?
And Colorado Springs, Colorado.
See, I didn't get the Colorado part, but when did you? Yeah. What grade were you in when you started the flute?
That was like in seventh grade. I want to say seventh grade. Yeah. And then I still play the flute. I played it on a praise team and different things. So I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't lose it. A lot of kids, they lose their little instruments when they get out of school. But yes, keep that flute with you. That way, when you get up on stage, and people are expected to hear, singing and dancing and moving around. But then she breaks out the flute, and you're like, blowing minds. Blowing minds. Yeah, just keep that thing hidden. Keep it a secret, and then bam. Oh, yeah.
That's actually where a lot of my first songwriting started. It was more like classical music, writing classical music. But, it kind of, it progressed from there, I should say, into writing lyrics. Poetry first, lyrics, stories, poems, scripts, you name it. I write all of that. But
So
yeah,
okay, and you got all this, with the little seeds that you were getting in school. You had
yeah.
the singing in chorus, and then the band playing with the flute, and then dancing. What years were all this? What years was the singing? When did that start?
That was those were the same years. Still in Germany. I was in from like seventh grade to basically the beginning of 10th grade. We were there. We came. It was September when we left from Ulm, Germany of '88. So all of that from seventh to, well, not 10th, was it? Seventh to ninth grade, we were there. So it was just really, man.
So was it an American school on the base, or did you learn in a German school as well?
No, we didn't go to a German school. We went to, and we weren't on the base. It was kind of weird. There was Wiley Post, and then we were outside the gate in Vorfeld housing. So we went to school right out there in the community outside of the post, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
but it wasn't still on the economy,
Okay, but it was still an American school. I was wondering if you got any of the dance lessons or the music lessons from any of the German teachers at all. Oh, okay. But you did make some German friends. Do you know any of them still now?
Sure did. Yeah, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna try to find them on Facebook. I don't remember. I think I might have like their last names in my photo book. In my photo album. I have the pictures and everything, and I would love to look them up because they were such sweethearts. I'm telling you, I have like about five good friends from the German economy.
That's all you need in this world. 5 pretty good friends, for sure. I guess you have to look them up on Das Facebook.
I don't know. I mean, I can try though, but it's worth it,
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I mean, you develop long-lasting relationships but it's hard when you're moving around so much. But the good thing you get is you get a well-rounded education. You get to see what it's like in other countries. People that think, the kids sounding old in 3, 2, 1. The kids in this country don't know how good they got it until they go to another country and find out. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently found that out too. And I wasn't a kid. I went to Ireland recently, not recently. Sorry. Well, in the 2000s, But I went out there, and I think it was my older daughter had just turned 7, and that was in 2003. I want to say. But, I went over there saying, hey, I'm going to go make my career over in Ireland, and we can stay there and I can come back and get my daughter. And, after that experience, we had a good time. We had a nice time, but the culture shock, I didn't realize how, I don't want to say bad, but let's just say I was thankful to be back in America. I had a great time there, but that opened my eyes, and seeing Brussels and, I said, I guess we're going to go back home. We're not staying here. We'll go back home.
Yeah,
let's go back to America. Sorry.
So it's different. It definitely is different going around the world. I've never been out of this continental United States. I've been all over the United States, but I've never been outside, and I want to. And all I get, I'm living vicariously through you, Theresa Carmoney, right now. Learning from you. Yeah. Ireland's definitely a place I want to go because I've heard of the Emerald Isles and everything's wonderful there. But I mean, hey, people are people all over the world. There's good and bad, no matter where you go. So and you find, hey, pretty much home is probably the best, and you have people that care for you as well. Your family, that's pretty important. And people, your parents, grandparents, cousins, those are the people that are probably going to back you up for the rest of your life. Did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have 3. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, all younger.
Well, how were they growing up? And you could brag on them. What did they end up being?
They were so cool. It's a little bit sad. I used to get picked on when I was younger, right? I never really fit in out in Denmark in school. And I had one best friend there. She ended up, dying when I was out in Colorado. But I turned into being the protector as soon as my brother and sisters got picked on. That's when I started sticking up for something, and it was almost like they weren't my kids, of course, but it was like they were, and I loved it. They could follow me anywhere they wanted to, and I'd say, "Come on, let's go," like they're little ducklings, like, well, let's go, and we're still like that. I love my sisters and my brother.
That's cool that you become the protector. I was the oldest myself, and I would beat up my little brother until he got taller than me, and then he would beat me up. And he got too old to pick on. But boys will be boys. I had a little sister too, and I definitely cared for her. My little stepsister. But you're alluding to. Did your parents stay together your whole life?
Yeah. My parents were together. My dad died in 2018, April 2018, so 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it was right before his 58th birthday.
Wow.
Wait, what am I talking about? 58, 60, 68. Right before his 69th birthday, he died. And they were married that year, 40. It was 46 years, or it would have been, no, a little bit after 46 years is when he had, passed on. But
so amazing. Yeah. My parents, they split up when I was a baby, and I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she's only known her parents together, loving parents. Yeah. I try to convince her how good she has it. That she has parents that are still together, never going to come apart. We love each other. And we love her as well. And that's nice to have parents that work together to raise a family, and it looks like that's what they did. They raised some good kids. And you're speaking already very highly of your brothers and sisters. I mean, what are they up to? What did they end up doing?
Well, let's see. My sister right under me, excuse me, she's like about 4 years younger than me. And she taught my niece and nephew from preschool all the way to graduating high school, and they graduated early. So she taught them from very small to older. And my sister actually never ended up getting her actual high school diploma, but then she ends up teaching. And I just thought she did a beautiful job. She's really smart, and those kids are so smart. And my sister under her, well, Matt and Sharon, they're twins. They're the youngest, but Sharon's older than Matt. And Sharon, she ended up going in the Navy, and that's how she met her husband, my brother-in-law. And I love that. I always look at her like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, because I tried to join the Army, and I ended up getting like honorably discharged like you. I was supposed to go to the Met Station, and well, anyways.
Yeah, it was 2 days before I was supposed to go in. I got, I was supposed to go get shipped off. I got in a motorcycle wreck. Oh well, it happens. Life goes on. But yes, tell me about the twins. That's instant popularity being a twin.
Yeah, they were Sharon was the quiet one. She's still kind of quiet. She'll pop up on Facebook here and there. Hey sis, love you sis. A lot more than before. And then my brother, he was always kind of like the outgoing one, and in the dance groups, we had dance groups going on and all kinds of wild stuff. And Matt was just totally into sports. He wanted to be a professional football player until he got injured.
Oh.
So from that, he was really hurt once he had gotten injured, right? And from that, he started singing, and now he sings to this day. But I felt kind of bad him wanting to be a pro football player going to singing, but now he considers it like a blessing, kind of a blessing in disguise. So Yeah.
Yeah, you never know where life's going to take you. That's have you ever sang with your brother?
Oh yeah, definitely. We like not like recording wise, but like all throughout the years, all of us were singing. But I need to come up with something and try to. He has a studio, like an in-home studio. But we're trying to figure out what we can get going as far as like some kind of duet, get something going together.
That's pretty cool.
And my younger sister under me sings also Christian contemporary.
That's pretty cool. Like you said in the beginning, it's in the blood. You could not help but be talented. And you, it sounds like you have really cultivated yours. You really went for it. You bet on yourself. Did you have anything to fall back on? Did your mom say, "Hey, you better go to school and fall back on something"? Did you go to school for anything? College?
Well, yeah, I went to school. I studied radio, television, telecommunications at Pikes Peak Community College, and then Soc Crim at CSU Pueblo. So those didn't. I mean, the radio, television, telecommunications had a lot to do with music, and I loved it. The radio stations, interning at the television stations, and I was a weekend editor at KRDO. Yeah, it was always so much fun. But as far as like, what is like, as far as like anything in music, really, like specifically, like singing or anything, I haven't really had that much, training. As a little bit in high school with the choir,
right?
But yeah.
No, but the radio and television, when I went to radio school, it taught me about microphones. It taught me a little bit about reel. The first radio school that I went to back in '86 was teaching me about reel to reel. So I know how to splice tape. I think that was the first thing they teach you is how to splice tape. And then, as the electronics came in, I went back to radio school in the early 2000s to learn about the different electronic stuff that was coming out, Cool Edit and Pro Tools and that kind of thing, and the new microphones and new cameras. But yeah, it gives you a good base. You said your brother has a studio. I mean, I think for about $1,000, anybody that's out there that could probably get a pretty decent studio, a decent mic with a mixer and a computer that could, get a good demo. I'm guessing you have some kind of a recording studio in your house that you could do things.
All I have is a microphone. I don't have any kind of studio. I'm starting to kind of piece together things and figure this out, figure that out, trying to do it on my own, especially at times where you don't have a lot of money, and then that's kind of what I've had to deal with throughout the years. Like I'll have money, but not extra for my music, and that's, even through gigs, it wasn't really enough to make it on, I'm building it piece by piece. I have my little studio microphone now, and I have my iPad and I have my laptop and I'll go from there. Whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing, I'll build something.
Well, let's delve into your music career. I mean, since I got you here, Theresa Carmoney, you started. If you look at your bio, it says you're an independent BMI. What does all that mean, and when did that start?
Well, independent just means I haven't been signed yet, or haven't been signed. I say yet in hopes of being signed. And then BMI just means that I'm registered. My music is registered with BMI. The music I did with my former band in Colorado Springs, all-female band, our music is registered, and then also, music from both of my EP and my single. So they recommend that you have your songs copyrighted, you're a member of BMI or ASCAP or, whatever else, the other ones out there. So I'm registered with BMI, just meaning they collect your royalties for you. They find your royalties and different things,
Well, definitely brag on the female band. Tell the people what that is, especially if you make a little money off of that. Put them on your Spotify.
Yeah, it's Monica's Cigar. Our album, well, it was like a garage band album. It wasn't anything like, it was big to us, but it wasn't a professional, album. But that one has some really great music on it. Really, really good music. And
I never had an album. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. All female. It was just, we were alternative to grunge, but we did classic rock. The covers is classic rock, country, oldies, you name it.
How many pieces in the band?
It was like there were 4 of us.
Okay.
So just like lead singer, and then there was Lou. She would play the guitar, lead guitar, rhythm guitar. She plays everything. All kinds of instruments. And then there was Renati, our drummer. She ended up dying. And then there was Roxy, the bassist. So,
do you keep in touch with them?
Finally found. Say that one more time.
I'm sorry. Do you keep in touch with them?
Yeah, I keep in touch with Lou. Roxy, I don't know where she is. I've tried to find her on Facebook. But Lou has a band. After all this time, she has a band out in Florida. She lives in Miami, Florida.
Hey, right, my old house.
Sound really good,
That's cool.
Yeah.
So from there, were you writing some of the music? You alluded that you're somewhat a cover band as well, but you were writing some of the music in that group as well?
Yes, we did mostly our originals, and we throw in the covers, the oldies, the classic rock of the country. But of course, I wanted to sing country when they found me, or when when we found each other. I was kind of shooting for, to a country band, and then I found them, and we didn't even have a style at first. I just started writing. They'd play music, and I started writing. The name of our first song was called Velvet Girl. And, I was just like, I just started writing it, and they started jamming, and I was like, we just meshed. It was beautiful, and just kind of took off from there. I think while we were together, I wrote probably, I want to say about 25, 26, 27 songs, somewhere around there.
And they're all out there to be found? Can you find them out there in the world?
No, not all of them. We have, when she recorded our album, it was like, I think there are 10 songs on the album, but the rest of them, we just kind of like perform, like a lot of them we perform live, and, and just in little delis, little cafes, and wherever,
So what was the response to that, Theresa Carmoney? Well, did you get fans?
Say that one more time.
Did you get fans that kept following you from gig to gig?
Yes, we did. We had that. And then where I messed up, I went to Ireland, and they sort of felt like, not that I left them behind, but they were just kind of like, oh, you're just going to go take off and go on a trip. And, so I kind of messed that one up, because a little bit after I came back, we didn't go our separate ways right away, but eventually we just ended up drifting. They're like, you need to concentrate on country anyway. And, we just we fell apart.
Yeah, but your trip to Ireland, you already said it's a learning experience. You went out there to try to find your fortune, because a lot of times, as much as we think of people from England and the UK and people with these cool accents, to us, they sound, wow, that's a cool accent. You go to Germany, wow, that's a pretty cool accent. French, same thing. Africa, same thing. Oh, that's a cool accent. Asia. And then we go over there, and we're a commodity, with our American accent. Wow, that's a pretty cool American accent. And then hopefully we become, that's what you were trying to do, was trying to find your fame as a commodity, a novelty of sorts to them. And
basically,
it didn't pan out.
And I knew in Ireland, just music is totally appreciated. England, Ireland, so I was like, maybe I could do something here, and just, in all honesty, I did have, he was a boyfriend at the time. We were kind of, they had been in America, and that was another reason I went over there. So, yeah.
It's always something.
Mm-hmm.
I've chased girls around this country plenty of times to my demise quite often. That happens. And you chased one all the way to Ireland. I guess that's pretty far.
Yep. Yeah. He was here, and then
Yeah.
he ended up getting, going back. They were on a Welsh visa program,
Yeah.
and whatever papers that is or whatever. But he ended up, he's working at the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs, and him and there were like 3 or 4 of them that had to go back, of our friends, and we were like, we're gonna go there. I went there for him, mostly.
Yeah.
But also my friend Carrie, Barry, they were all sweet. They're all cool.
Yeah. But it didn't pan out. It didn't pan out in Ireland. So you're back. You came back. You went from Ireland back to South Carolina then, not back to Colorado?
No, I went right back to Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you tried to get the band back together and they said no?
Well, no, we still performed and everything, but the air was different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it changed. They were just kind of like, oh, you can just up and leave us like that. You know what I'm saying? And I regretted it. I didn't regret it. I shouldn't say that.
No. But, learning.
I felt really bad, about that. But
yeah. But after that,
for probably another 3-4 months, and after that, we kind of went our separate ways. So.
Hey, but you got those 10 songs out there. That's beautiful. People can listen to that. It's a good part of your life. That's a memory that you have. So after that band broke up, where did you go from there? Were you BMI back then already?
No. Recently, let's see, I got signed up with BMI, I want to say a little before, either around the time I moved back to South Carolina in 2015. I want to say that's when I started looking more into it. It's also when I started recording more songs and, trying to get my EP together. And, I just, it's a kind of a learning process, of course, with the music business. Like, I learned so much. And I'm like, oh, I need to be registered. I need to do this. I need to do that. And, throughout the years, I never really knew that.
Yeah.
It was just.
That's one thing they don't teach you when you're learning about things, especially in radio and music. When you're learning how to sing, you're learning how to sing from your diaphragm. But what they should be teaching you is the business part of it. Because I've talked to so many people on this podcast that have been slapped around by the music business. You say that you're an unsigned artist or you're an independent artist. You haven't been signed yet. Maybe it's better you don't get signed. Maybe it's better that you do it all yourself and make all the profits from that. But there is advantage to being signed. Sometimes maybe being signed with somebody, they'll move 1 million units, you get $100,000. But if you are not signed, you move 100,000 units, you make $100,000. So there's advantage to both because they're going to try to rip you off. they're not there for you. They're there for them. Yeah. But have you ever been approached by anybody to get signed? Here, sign on the dotted line. Here's an advance.
I have. Like a couple labels, and with me, I try to do my research. I don't know that much about it, honestly, and I don't want to sit here pretending like I do, but I don't know much of the business side of it. I'm learning,
Oh yeah.
But I was approached, and I like to do my research first and see what they are wanting from me, what they'd be demanding from me, or whatever it is, and I just kind of go from there. And I ended up, I think I've turned about 2 people, two labels down. I didn't really know what they were about or whether they could even really help me.
Right.
So, just, hopefully one day somebody will say, hey, let's go, girl.
Well, for now, Theresa Carmoney, who's helping you to record your music? Do you have a studio pretty close that you record with, or somebody that can edit for you?
Not at all. In Colorado Springs, that's where I recorded my 5-song EP, Carolina Country.
Hey.
That was at North Star Studios in Colorado Springs. Rick Green. He is incredible. He played all the instruments except for the drums. We brought in a studio musician for the drums. But on Carolina Country, my former producer played all of that music except for the drums. And he's incredible, within per song, I'd say he'd come up with it in not even an hour. He'd put it together and I just loved it. you know. And then my Happy, my latest single that was released last year, I ended up recording that on BandLab, the BandLab app. And it's an app my older daughter told me about. It's incredible. I'm telling you, I got my iPad, my little mini microphone, my mini microphone, and just stayed up all night. And I think I released the song the next day.
I've seen that mini microphone. That thing sounds pretty good. It really does.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. But I had to graduate to a better microphone.
Hey, and it's good that you have kids that are teaching you about all this new stuff, this newfangled equipment.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I definitely got a lot of get a lot of insight from my 14-year-old, and in turn, she teaches my wife a lot of things as well. So it's cool, to keep in touch with the kids. Me, I'm a DJ, so I get to. And I always wonder at 51, am I too old to be DJing at proms? And I go, nope, doing just fine. I keep in touch. But this Carolina country, did you write all those songs?
I did actually. Altogether, I have a little over 80 songs that I've written altogether. Not just country, but alternative country, Christian contempt, about 80 songs.
No limits.
But I wrote every last one of those. There's still more songs that I want to put out there and record. A lot of it I don't have music to. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard when I don't play guitar.
Yeah, so, I was just going to ask you about that. If all you're playing is the flute, when you go to your producer and you say, "Hey, I got this song," are you humming the melody? Or are you going la 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 la?
I do. I already have the melody in my head. Like for Straight Up, that one's on Carolina country. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know, but I've seen a like you with your style and grace. And he's sitting there. He's just, his wheels are turning, just sitting there and with his guitar, and we just do like a little scratch track, with me singing and him playing, and everything comes together from there. Now, some of them, Happy started out with the music from BandLab. It was, somebody that actually created the music on there, and they were looking for vocals to it. So I ended up putting, writing. I listened to it, and I was kind of goofing around. I was like, "You make me happy," and I thought that I was like, can I sing like that? I never thought I would have a more modern country sound, whatever, pop-ish, And I was playing around, and both of my daughters are laughing at me like, and I said, you know what? I kind of like it. I'm digging it. And from there, I just started, writing the rest of it. Like I said, I stayed up all night, and I recorded it. Next day, I released it after touching it up a little bit, and I was like, let's put it out.
Yeah, it sounds like your producer. Yeah. That's a good team to have. That he's so talented that he could play all those instruments. But I mean, where are you getting all the inspiration to write these songs? And I'm glad that you don't have any limits. I'm glad that you go country, pop, rock, soul, whatever, wherever you want to go, gospel, wherever you want to go. No limits. Yeah. And all this is on the same EP. That is it a 5 single EP? What kind of song? What kind of songs are on that EP?
It's more like Do Me Like This, Do Me Like That is more of almost like a bluesy kind of country. I don't really know what what label it would have. Yeah. Straight Up is more of a rockish kind of rock, country rock. It Takes One to Know One is more of a two-stepping kind of country song, almost like a traditional kind of sound. Yeah. And then Amy, that's straight country. It's like totally traditional country.
See, Theresa Carmoney, don't put it in a box. You have so much in you, and it doesn't matter what somebody else will compare it to. It's all Theresa Carmoney. It's all Theresa Carmoney music. Is that the way you've branded yourself all over the internet? Theresa Carmoney?
That's it. Theresa Carmoney, just straight out. You know, my ex-husband actually hit me up on Facebook one time. He said, "I see you kept my last name." I was like, he's like, "At least you got something good out of it." I was like,
Hey,
but yeah, you know, like, yeah.
is he the
So,
father of the girls?
no, he's not. That's my, well, first husband. We married when I was 19. He was 21. And for like 7 years, you know, I was kind of just not with anybody after we divorced. But then I met PJ, and that didn't work.
It happens. It
At
happens.
all.
That's not the reason I asked the question. I was just wondering, you know, because you say you got the last name from your ex
Yeah,
husband, and but
yeah,
you got the daughters from the other husband. Hey, that's beautiful.
yeah.
You did
So,
good. You know.
yeah. Well, let's just my first husband, that's my older daughter's dad. And then I was engaged to my younger daughter's dad years later. You don't forget how old I am here. Okay.
You're not old. We're not
But
too old for this.
they're about 15 years apart. Her and my older daughter, 15 years. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I got one of those situations. I was 23 with the first one, and then
yeah,
and I guess that was 96. Yeah, I guess they're about, I don't know, 12 years apart, something like that. So yeah,
yes.
my oldest daughter
So,
just made me a grandpa.
oh, congratulations!
Hey,
Yay!
Mazel tov. So yeah, but you know, families are different all over the world. It's an American
Yeah,
family. So
yeah,
but hey, you came up with these great kids. You got a
yeah,
career that's blossoming.
yeah.
That you've been working on since you know, you were 12, I guess. You know, since seventh grade.
Um, well, yeah. I was on stage first at age, I think I was about 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
The Miss Cherry Blossom, you know, pageant, and then the writing music was about 12ish, 13ish, somewhere 13 with the flute, and then
Amazing.
watch me go. No, wait a minute, it was before that. But yeah, just started flourishing from, you know, basically when we hit Germany, it started flourishing. And you know, I used to go to karaoke a long time ago, like only karaoke, and I was songs. I was writing all these songs, and excuse me, the main person. Hold on. The main person that kind of got me into recording and into finding a band was my brother, my younger brother, or he's my only brother, but he used to say, like, you know, throughout the years he'd have his friends over, and I said, you know, Matt, you know, we grew up on country music. He'd go, no, we didn't. You know, he was embarrassed, and years later, like, you know, a few years later, he heard one of my songs, and he goes, Teresa, you wrote that? And I said, yeah. You know, he's like, what are you doing with all this music? And I said, I write. I was just writing. I didn't go performing. I wasn't performing anywhere. I was just writing music, writing song lyrics. And he said, you're not in a band? You're not, you just go to karaoke and sing? Like, you need to do something, you know, get in the studio. And when he said that to my country song, when he said that, I just really went, you love it? You know, I didn't know. I was just, you know, and then it just kind of took off from there. So, you know,
Well, good
so
on your
that
brother.
really inspired
That little validation just turned
me.
that spark into a flame. That was
Yeah,
beautiful. Give it up for the brother. Hey, good job.
yeah,
You know, without him, you may have never recorded any music. Yeah, what was your go-to
yeah.
karaoke song? I get to do a lot of karaoke shows myself.
Oh,
What's your go-to?
Grandpa by the Judds. Grandpa and Crazy Patsy Cline.
You are
So,
country. You are country.
yeah.
Well, that's your go-to. I mean, you don't have to put yourself in a box, but that is definitely
No,
the roots that grandpa and grandma definitely
yeah,
put into you by keeping that radio on. Do not touch that dial. It
mm-hmm.
stays right there.
Yeah, yeah,
So cool,
totally, yeah.
man. I'm having a blast learning about you, Theresa Carmoney. So people can
Good.
find all the music? I mean, what? All right, now that we're locked down, were you gigging full time? Was that your full time job?
Oh gosh, gigging. I haven't gigged in like, it's been a long time. It's been a while. Like, seriously, I haven't gigged in, man, a while. And why did I say? Did I say 2003, 97, 98? What was I talking about? Sorry,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no. That's okay.
I'm thinking about
Yeah,
things.
but
But hadn't gigged in like years since Monica's Cigar. But now I'm actually trying to find another band or form one, and we just moved out to the Columbia area last September, so I'm still kind of like feeling my way around here musically, and trying to find out the best spots to go to, or open mics, or karaoke spots, yeah, wherever. I don't know where to go. I have a lot of what do you call it? Like ads on like Band Mix and Reverb Nation, different things. So
yeah, I mean, I know you could find
I'm on the
people.
hunt.
You can find people wherever you are, and even this
Yeah.
internet thing. It's pretty cool where you could have a drummer, in that part of the world, and a guitarist
Yeah.
in that part of the world, and a bassist in that part of the world, and then mix it all up in Colorado, maybe with that guy who was helping you do your mixing. But
Mhm.
whenever somebody comes to the karaoke show, and they have a backing track, I've had a lot of singers that have had their music, and I'll say, yeah, 3 minutes is 3 minutes. Here, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you have your backing tracks that you could take to karaoke shows and open mics?
I have one to Happy, but I don't have one to Carolina Country. And the reason being is I cannot get a hold at all of Rick Green. I keep trying to, maybe he'll see this one day. I need to get a hold of him and get just the instrumental part, the backing track from him, of all my recordings. And then I can kind of take it out there. Otherwise, I'm kind of like, I can't do Carolina Country at all.
Yeah, you got to start all over
being able to
again.
get a hold of him.
No, you would have to
Say
have
that again.
You would have to have somebody who knew how to play, listen to the songs, and try to recreate
Yeah.
it. And it just won't be exactly the same. But my goodness, yeah, you
Exactly.
need to find this guy. But I know I look at your social media, and I see you using that Smool app that people like, and
However you say it.
yeah, Smool app, and you have your little microphone there. But it sounds so good. It makes me happy when it comes through my feed, and I go, oh, let me take a listen to Theresa Carmoney. What's going on there? Oh, that's beautiful. You make all the songs so soulful. You feel it. I can feel that you're feeling the songs when you're singing them. You put your heart into it. Whether it's your song or somebody else's. I mean, I know I've pretty much only heard somebody else's songs, like when you're doing the 80s stuff, the covers, and you make it your own. You do. You make it your own.
Yeah.
It sounds beautiful. But
I also don't want to take away. Sorry, I don't want to take away from what the artist originally wanted it to sound like. That's why you hear me sing a lot of, like, I try to stay, for most of the songs, I try to stay as close to the artist as I can, because I know when I hear a song, I know a lot of people like to take a song and totally make it their own. Like American Idol would say that, you made it your own, you turned it into this and that. I don't like that. I don't like to hear that a lot. Sometimes I do, but I don't like it. And I'm singing for those people who are just like me. They want to hear that art. They want to, I'm not the artist, but I try to keep it the way that they remembered it.
Okay.
And I love that,
It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. Definitely. You could, but yeah, I do like the make it your own, because if you could just listen to like Journey, for example, they're a huge band, and when Steve Perry left, they had to find another singer, and then here they went to the Philippines and found Arnold Pineda, and he sounded just like Steve Perry. So for that, I could see, you needed somebody to sound just like Steve Perry, and that's what they had. But for somebody who's doing a cover, you kind of do want them to put their own spin on it. So I guess there's two schools of thought.
I don't know. I'm just not into that. Like, I don't know why. I like to hear, like, I have so many songs. I have over I think it's around over 400 songs on social media and on Facebook alone. Over 400 songs I recorded. And each one there's a memory for almost every song. A memory I had, an emotion, whatever, and I tried to just kind of relay that, like get that across, just whatever feeling I was feeling at the time when I heard it or when I would hear, I get what you're saying about making it your own, but I don't know. It does something to me or for me, just, hearing that artist. And when I hear it change a lot, I kind of, with me, I kind of just go, oh, God, same feeling.
Oh, by the same token, Theresa Carmoney, when I was listening to Ariana Grande, she was on Jimmy Fallon, I think, and she was doing sound-alikes. She sounded like Celine Dion. She sounded like Britney Spears. She sounded like, she was doing sound-alikes. And that's another career you could have. If you like to sound exactly like the singer, man, you could have a whole career doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe not exactly like, but I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like just, I don't know. You don't know how many people have said like, oh gosh, that brings back this memory or that memory, and I remember what I was when I heard that, and it feels good. And I know how I feel like that too when I hear people, karaoke or a band or whatever it may be. When I hear somebody, they don't have to like act like the artist or sound too much like the artist, but just a little bit even, and I'm just like, oh, just beautiful to me. And but anyways.
Oh, I get what you mean, Theresa Carmoney. Whenever I go to a karaoke show, I'm very blessed that I have a lot of great singers that will try their very best, and I'll put as much little auto tune or a little echo to make them sound really good as they possibly can. And when they get off that stage, they feel like, wow, I was a star. They feel like they're stars up there,
Yeah, totally.
But you actually are a star. You write your own music and you put it out there. It can't be found. Now, I wish you had your backing tracks to help you get some gigs. So what are you doing these days as we're locked down in coronavirus, trying to find a band? How are you keeping yourself busy?
Well, now, I homeschool my younger daughter. She's in the 7th grade. She's 12. I've homeschooled her on and off since she was in kindergarten. And, but I don't take all the credit for that. It's through Connections Academy out here.
Good.
Online public school. And then I also like just record on Smule. That's it. I want to be on stage again.
Yeah.
I continue to look on Bandmix and different, other online sources like for bands, musicians, Facebook, but it seems like no matter what I do, it's like, I'll talk to people and a guitarist here and a drummer there or whatever, a vocalist, and, I'll talk to them, and either some aren't as serious as I am about it, like I really want to take this as far as it'll go, or some of them like, well, I don't really play that much country, and I don't want to leave my country out. So, it's just, I don't know. There's somebody somewhere, but I want just the right people to form a band or to be a part of their band,
Oh yeah, Theresa Carmoney. It's hard to find people that will give up a lot of their life, a lot of their time to put forth effort into this. It takes a certain kind of person, and for you, a certain kind of people. It's tough. I mean, it's a whole lot easier, if you can strap on a guitar and just go to a bar and say, hey, I'll X amount of money and I'll go play a couple hours on that corner, or go sit on the street corner and busk a little bit. I mean, those guys.
I would do that totally. Yeah. I would even sing outside of Walmart. I don't care. I love to sing, and I want to see people smiling, and it's just deep down. I like to see expressions and just them enjoying themselves, you know. And I forgot what else I was going to mention, but yeah, I just that I can't explain it. Just the passion there, just
Well, if you look here, you got me smiling. I'm enjoying talking to you and learning about you. But you know, I guess I've taken a lot of your time. Tell the people how to find you online and how to find your music and such. Theresa Carmoney.
Yeah. Thank you. Y'all can find me on Twitter. Now I don't have the exact. I think it's like at Theresa Carmoney on Twitter, and then the same thing for Smule at Teresa bottom dash Carmoney. I'm on iTunes. You know, I have 2 releases on iTunes, Amazon, on Pandora streaming, and Spotify, another streaming platform. YouTube Music. I think it's YouTube Artist Music or something. But you know what? Google me. If you Google me, tons should pop up.
That is the easiest way. I did. I Googled you. Theresa Carmoney, you're easily Googled. And I will put all those links in the show notes so people can find all those different links to you. Hopefully you get lots and lots more followers. And, you know, and as time progresses, and when you do find a band, come on back. Yeah. I want to talk to you some more and find out more about what's going on, you know. And before you go, I mean, I guess some free time for you. Anything any other avenues you want to explore? You want to brag on what the daughters are doing? You said your 12-year-old is getting homeschooled. Good job.
Your voice cut out a little bit. You want to me? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you want to brag on the kids, or you want to talk about anything else, or you know, we can wind this thing down.
I think that's pretty much the most of it there. Other than I want to find a band. Y'all remember that. Or form one, and just, you know, everybody keep listening to my music. I love the support. I appreciate the support. When I'm singing, I'm not just singing just to sing, but I'm singing. It might sound cheesy, but for you. So yeah, thank you for all the support. If you support me, I appreciate you. I'm grateful, you know, for me.
All right, Theresa Carmoney. I usually finish these things off with last words for the people. So this could be some words to live by, something that you heard in your past, you know, that you've been living by these words for a long, long time, or it could just be whatever pops into your head at this particular time. Theresa Carmoney, last words for the people.
Well, my logo is changing the world and people's hearts one song at a time. So I think that the way the world is today, the things that are going on here, you know, since COVID and other social issues, I believe that I know that I can't change the whole world. You know what I mean? From singing or from talking to people, but you know, if everyone could just try to love more, you know, and just show love, I guess, you know, even that helps. Even if just 1 or 2 people hear you or see you, or you can make a difference in people's lives, you know, and just all the what is it? The protesting, the looting, crazy, whatever it is, people, you know, degrading other people, ethnicities and skin colors. I think it's all ridiculous. But I think if people would start just, you know, being kind more, you know, I think eventually other people would catch on, and I'm hoping, you know. And music is one way to do that. It spreads to many.
Well, there you have it, party people. Theresa Carmoney. Find her everywhere. Google her. She likes to be Googled. Check out her music. Check out the music from the past. And now she wants to put a band together. Yeah. So if you're in the South Carolina area, I guess the south part of South Carolina is what she alluded to. She said that she hasn't been to the north part. So if you're anywhere in the area, and you play some instruments. Hey, you could use a good front girl, a pretty lady in the front singing a song for you. How about that? She writes her own songs. She comes up with some melodies, and you play along. My goodness, she will add some flavor to your life. Theresa Carmoney, thank you so much for being on the show and telling a little bit about your story and how you came to be. All the traveling around the world and with mom in the army. That's fantastic. And the cooking. I think you're going to get a lot of people that want to get that recipe from you. I have no idea what that food is, but it sounded delicious the way you described it. All right. I'm excited to hear more in the future as time progresses. When you get that band back together, you make sure you come back on the show. I want to hear more about you, Theresa Carmoney. Thank you so much for being on What Makes You Famous. Now, turning my attention to you. Yes, you, the loyal listener. If you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.